Hello all, welcome to Cloud Chat 365. So in this video, we are going to see about how to create a virtual machine Windows in Azure. So what is a virtual machine? A virtual machine VM is an on-demand scalable cloud computing resource that runs like a physical computer. Example, you can run your Windows and Linux operating system. And it was fully customizable and scalable, and you can do a cost optimization by using based on the need or demand. You can just scale up your resources, and this can be easily integrated with other services like storage account, virtual network, and other platform as a service. And some of the use cases is you can just deploy a medium scale web apps like an enterprise application for your organization, or else you can just plan for any POCs like development or testing or any backup environment. And then you can set up a disaster recovery for DR solution, BCDR solutions. So, what are the components of a virtual machine? A component of a virtual machine consists of virtual CPU, processing unit to perform a particular task in the compute, and memory, the allocated virtual memory that allow you to VM store and process the data in real time. And when it comes to the storage, we have two storage. One is OS disk and data disk. So OS disk will consist of your operating systems like a Windows or Linux, and data disk which consists of your data files like your applications files and other files. And we have an important component called network interface card, NIC card. So this is a component will help you to have a communication between in and out between your virtual machine and the external world. And last one is a operating system. So whenever you are designing a virtual machine, you can define your customized operating systems like Windows, Linux, or you want to have a database with Windows or database with Linux like SQL or MongoDB or Apache. Yes, we have it in the marketplace, and you can design and you can deploy the virtual machine. So before deploying any resource to Azure, we need to understand the hierarchy, how the hierarchy will works. So every Azure is connected with something called a management group. So this management group is something called as a root tenant. So this management group has an hierarchy of subscription. So this subscription will consider of something called a resource group. So consider you are having a multiple departments like IT, finance. So this departments may have a different subscriptions, and each subscriptions will have the resource group something called a logical container. So this logical container will have the respective department resources like compute or storage or databases or other platform as a services. So you want to be keep it in mind. So whenever you are deploying any resources in Azure, that should be under a resource group. And this resource group will be tied up to the subscription, a billing entity, and this subscription is again tied up to the management groups. So before deploying a VM, we need to understand the sizes of VM. So we have general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, GPU optimized, and storage optimized, and HPC. So you are going to deploy or test a small scale of web application means then you can go with general purpose. Or if you want a high compute workloads, then you can go for a compute optimized sizes. And if you want a memory optimized computer where the application will need of more memory, you can go for the memory optimized. And if your application is more on interacting with other services and it required more disk IOPS means, then you can go for storage optimized. And finally we have GPU and HPC workload. So GPU is for the a high compute rendering workload. For example, if you want to run a graphics related processing on the compute means, then you can go for the GPU. Or if you want to do some batch job processing, like you want to run some specific PowerShell script or Linux script, then you can use a HPC compute workload. Let's have a demo of how to deploy a virtual machine. So let me log into the portal. So portal name is https colon slash slash portal dot azure.com. Okay, so once I logged into the portal, I'm just going to the resource group. So in my resource group, you can see my resource group is empty. So I'm going to create a new resource group. Resource group name is demo lab, and I'm going to place the resource group in east to us. Next, next, create. Okay, so now I'm going to all services. Under compute, we have a service name called virtual machine. Click on create a new virtual machine. Select the subscription, resource group. Virtual machine name is web server hyphen 01. Let me go with the east US. Since I'm just going for a testing, I don't need any infrastructure option, and I just go with standard security. I'm selecting operating system for Windows Server 2019. Now here you can select your desired size. So here you are seeing, right, general purpose or compute optimized, memory optimized. So based on your subscription and location, so this subscription type and the location, you can see all the compute type which is supported for your subscription. So these are all the list. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going for a basic B series, and here I'm just going with the general purpose, and I'm going with 4 vCPU and 16 GB of RAM. I'm just giving a username and password to log in my VM. So I'm allowing a inbound port which is 3389. We'll discuss about more on NSGs on our further content. So if you are having your on-premises license, you can check back this mark, and then you can just bring your hybrid license from your on-premises and you can paste it here. But here I don't have any hybrid license, so I'm just marking as leave and then disk. So for my operating system disk, I'm just going with the default 127 gig, and I'm selecting a standard SSD. So here, if I want to reduce the cost means I can just go for the standard HDD. So standard HDD, which is best for backup, non-critical and infrequent access. And for standard SSD, it's best for the web servers, a lightweight used enterprise application. And if you have a production environment, then you can go for the premium SSD. Since it's a testing, I'm just going with standard SSD. And then if you want to attach a data disk, you can do it here. Like create and attach a new data disk. So I will change the size to just a 16 GB, and here you can see, right, the input output operations per second is 120. So if I need a more IOPS in future means we can just go ahead and we can reconfigure the disk. I attached the data disk also. If I need a more disk for my business need, I can create it later also. And let me go for networking. So we are not going to see more in the networking. In our further videos, I will cover the networking of a virtual network into the depth. So where we can see what is virtual network, subnets, public IP, and NSGs. Click on next, next. So for boot diagnostics, I just go with enabled with the managed storage account and click on next. So if you want to define tags, you can tag. So tags is a service which easily help to identify our cost in the overall subscription. So if I put a tag like billing equal to demo, so after a week I can go to the cost management and I can select for the tags and I can just mention billing equal to demo, so that I will see the spend cost only for the tag parity, which is billing equal to demo. review and create. So you can see the cost of my compute is 13 INR per hour, and this is my review details of all my compute, and then I'm going to click on create. Okay, the resource deployment is started. So here you can see the components which is getting created. So first component which is getting created is the data disk, and network NSG is created, VNet is created, a public IP address is also created, an NIC card is created, and finally a compute resource deployment is started. Yes, the deployment is succeeded. Now I'm going to Microsoft Azure. Let me go to uh, all services, compute, virtual machines. So here you can see the resource which I deployed, which is web server 01 located in East US, and status is running. Okay, to access this VM, we have option to connect, download the RDP file, click on connect, enter the password. Yes. So now we have successfully deployed a Windows server, and we have successfully logged in. Okay. So now let's have a review. So a virtual machine will consist of a CPU and memory, and it's also consist of something called disk. So this disk will consist of two disks. One is OS disk and data disk. The OS disk will consist of operating system files, and data disk will consist of your data files. And this VM will be connected with a network interface card. This network interface card will help you to have a communication with the external world, and this network interface card will be connected to a subnet, and this subnet will be monitored by a network security group called NSG, and this subnet will be attached to a centralized VNet. So in this video we have seen about how to create a Windows virtual machine, and in next video we are going to see about how to create a Linux virtual machine. So if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe to CloudShare 365. Thank you guys.